Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Welcome to Busi's Lane. If you are new here, you most definitely are welcome. And if you are coming back, subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. So guys, I just want to give a brief story time. I'm not one to tell stories. I think because I don't think I can tell stories, but I think I have to tell this one because it's my story. So yeah, I'm gonna tell it. Because I love stories as well. I love stories. So guys, a quick story. So let me give you a background of my story. So I'm not sure, like a year or 2 years ago, I go to this church, and this is a church that I really had Satan encounters, very powerful and significant encounters. Guys, I'm trying and practicing how to focus on the camera. I think I need to put someone's face because I speak better when I can see someone's face. That's why I keep on looking at my face, and yet I'm not supposed to. I'm supposed to look at that camera. So today I'm just gonna try and beat that. So my experience with a palm reader in church who poses as a Christian. The reason why I'm saying she's posing as a Christian, the Bible is very clear about us Christians not participating or associating ourselves with fortune tellers, palm readers, what do you call it, sorcerers, all that shebang. So if you don't know these things, go look them up. If you are a new Christian, maybe you are coming from a different faith, or from you've never actually been a very spiritual person, or someone who wants to who understands things about faith, I'll suggest that after you watch this video, of course, go and look these things up. They might actually help you, especially if you are a very new Christian. Okay, so for me, I wasn't a new Christian when this happened to me, and I must put it on disclaimer. Then when this person read my palm, I had no clue that's what they do, or that's what they were about to do. So the scenario is that it is Mother's Day, and it is well prepared. Like most churches, when it comes to Mother's Day, they never miss preparation. They never miss inviting the mothers, or honoring the mothers, because in this case, I found myself in a position where I didn't expect. I had been on a Mother's Day in the same church before, but let me put this in context. So after moving, I had been going to that church. I think I went to that church for 2 years, 3 years before we moved away from that church. And when we moved, I didn't immediately leave. I left that particular branch to another branch. So I was still in that branch, within that branch for a while. But eventually, the Lord led me somewhere else. And that will be a video for another day. So, and when the Lord led me somewhere else, I guess my assignment, or I won't call it an assignment, I'll say the assignment for that church in my life, or the season, had come to an end. So God introduced a different church for another season. Okay, so this is what God would do when you start praying that God show me my destiny. So God will start developing you. More like you going to primary school. When you complete your season in primary school, then you go to secondary school, or what we call here mostly in South Africa high school. So anyway, let me be brief. So I had moved from that church for a while. And but one thing I enjoyed about that church, it was very family orientated, and I had been there at a time where I had small kids. So my kids now have grown, and I know this church was very big on equipping the body of Christ. It's very big on that. At the time that I was there, I mean, even now there are still programs, but okay, so let me get to the point of my message, or rather my story. So I go there, it is Mother's Day. I had been going, but I had just come back to that church, maybe a couple of months or a month, and I wasn't very regular. I was just going, coming, going, coming. But my biggest desire for going back to that church was for my kids who are now teens and preteen, was for them to develop their own knowledge about Christianity, and study and have those things that I also experienced in that church. So that was the whole purpose of me going there. And I know that they had a facility for the youth, for the kids to the youth, and my kids had gone there, but that was when they were quite small. So I was like, let's go again, because I needed them to be equipped. I needed them to learn more about the Bible and so on and so forth. So you would ask me, what about the church you were going to at that time? The church I was going to at the time, so after God led me to maybe 2 more churches after that church, the last church that I was in before going back to this particular church, it was a very new church. So I would safely say God started leading me into smaller ministries for the purpose of equipping the saints. Because I guess me having been equipped, God is the kind of God who will equip you to equip others. He will bless you to bless others. So I went there with the purpose that God assigned me personally. This was a personal understanding between me and God. I'm sorry, I keep staring far. Anyway, so when I decided, I was praying, and God had told me my kids need to grow, need to, God had said a lot of things. And now I said to myself, with my own understanding, with what God is saying, let me take them to that church. So when I went back there, and I went now for Mother's Day. So this particular lady, okay, so they would normally have nice pampering for the women, and just making women feel special on that day. It wasn't a new thing. Sometimes they would give us scarves as gifts. I remember when I went there and I was like a mother to young kids, I really appreciated that moment when I was in that season of my life. Now I'm in a different season. Now that I'm going to this place, at the time I'm going for the Mother's Day, I was at a different season of my life. So when I went there was still some pampering, there was still some love, there was still, a lot to learn and share as women. And this lady, she's quite a senior in the church, and she's quite a very high up there senior, and even in the church, in the body of Christ, she's quite senior. She's quite well known, because she is in the media space. So I often hear her announcing things here and there. So this lady, when I got to sit, because it was more like a line where they either give you maybe a voucher for massage or this or that. So I was in a line of hand massages. So okay, so I'm not so much for massages, and I'll tell you this on another video. But I thought this was very harmless, and I was like, oh, why not? It's just a hand massage, and we're in church. So I went for the massage, the hand massage. All of a sudden, when the lady starts massaging my hand, she looks into my hand and she starts telling me what she sees the Lord is about to do in my life. To be honest with you, at that moment, it was very harmless to me, in my view. Like, I think I was also, what was in my mind at the time when I said that, first of all, she just told me, actually, I was about to pack my stuff and leave, because the service is gonna start. But then I'll do you. She changed her face. She was smiling. She was like, but then it's fine. I can still do your hand. I mean, you'll be my last one. So right there and then, I felt special. I like this lady. She's so good. She's a true Christian. And then immediately she starts putting oils in her hand, and then starts massaging my hand. She looks in my hand, and then she's like, I see this and that. God is about to do this, or whatever. Whatever she said, which I never even kept it. Basically, she did tell me something I already know, or what I think I'm expecting from God anyway. But But this could be anything. You know how when you read those days, I'll say those days I used to read astrology. You know how when you read about your star sign, which as a Christian, it's a no-no. And it speaks to you about relationships. So one thing I learned about those things, they will talk about relationship, finances, love. Those three things, everybody qualifies to have something going on along those lines. And and when they talk about it, they might talk about love, they might talk about finances, they might talk about relationships, around you, but they will always be almost accurate because those three things, they have a pattern that there is. Okay, first of all, money is never enough. Even to the richest guy, they still want to make money. Love is always never enough. Relationships, family relationships, there's always here ups and downs, because it's different personalities. So if someone just says something, that thing 80% of the time it's correct. You might have just passed through a rough time, a rough patch financially, so they always speak, so they are not right. Basically, I'm not encouraging you to do them, but I once did them before coming into knowledge, in the true knowledge of Christ. I don't want this story time to be long, but anyway, this lady does read my palm, and she tells me what she tells me, and I go inside after that, satisfied. I've been pampered for free. I'm given a voucher that if I ever want to go at a place for a massage, they will give me 30% and so on and so forth. Okay, so why am I bringing that story right now? First of all, according to the Bible, go and read these verses. I'm not going to read for you. In Deuteronomy, we are told not to associate with those palm readers. We're not associate with, what do you call them? Yeah, all those fortune tellers, all those things. We are also told that, but I'm not going to go deep. Anyway, as a Christian, you must never associate with such things. And, okay, so I'm bringing that today, and I feel I have to say it because I have done a fasting for this month. This is the month of August. So the first 3 days, I decided to go on a fast. I won't say I decided. I'll say I was led by the Spirit of God to fast for the first 3 days of this month. And I can tell you God revealed a lot, including this. So this particular one was revealed to me today. And when it was revealed to me, it was like, oh my God, like it was so obvious what it was. And yet, when I went through it, or rather when I was doing it, it just seemed very innocent, very, like they are pampering us, they are loving us for free, they're giving us massages. Wow. And the funniest part about it is, God speaks to everybody. These past couple of days, the Lord has just been talking to me about, it's just been a very clear message to me that the Lord is more concerned about the deception of such in the church. Because I watch two of my favorite YouTubers. They don't do Christian content, but they call themselves Christians. And then one mentioned about how she has a relationship with God, but she wouldn't go to church because nowadays you don't know which church is the right church, which church is not the right church. Okay, so let me make this video for another time where I will explain to you in my experience and in my the grace God has given me when it comes to picking and going to church. Okay, so I'm gonna end it here and say, when today I got this revelation about what that lady was actually doing. She was doing palm reading. It hit me like lightning. It hit me like lightning. And now it brought all those emotions back, because what happened? Why did I stop going to that church? I started discerning certain spirits. I started discerning things that I couldn't feel like I'm in church, although I'm in church. I couldn't feel that there's a certain fit when you're in church, you know? There's a certain perfection and fit where the Spirit of God will just, you know, because the Spirit of God within you must testify and witness as to who you are with and as to where you are, which I said I'm gonna explain nicely on a different video. But anyway, that was my story. This lady, I am shocked, not so shocked, because where the things that I experienced there at that short period of time, they are the same things that made me leave that church so fast. This is a church, a lot of my breakthrough in terms of marriage and things that I didn't know in my early marital years, I got a breakthrough. So I trusted this church. This church, I could safely say God used it to save my marriage. So this, I believed, was the church when I took my kids, but the Lord has just been like more like holding a loudspeaker to say the enemy has actually entered the church. He's seated comfortably. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. Unfortunately, I need to go somewhere. I'm just gonna leave this video here, and pray that God will give us all the spirit of discernment. So I'm gonna note this and say to you, I'm gonna do a video that talks about spirit of discernment, because yeah, because we are required to have a spirit of discernment. I know many people do believe in God. Some people love God, but they're not living their lives as Christians. They don't go to church. Some they have not seen the importance of going to church. I was one of those people where I felt God could speak to me even when I'm at home. So why go to church? But I will note this again. I'll probably have a video, a very short one, that tells you why exactly you need to go to church and how to actually know which church. But I'm gonna leave it there now.